My uncle stood up for my sister when she started spending money from my card after I helped them several times. My younger cousin borrowed money from me without asking, but somehow, I was the one who got blamed. My uncle, her father, took her side, like always. So, I waited. Months passed. When Christmas came around, I made my move. I took everything I had paid for back from their house, ignoring the panicked calls claiming they had been robbed. But I never expected that phone call to change everything. It was a freezing Wednesday morning. I was in my office, halfway through reviewing project deadlines when my phone screen lit up. Uncle Rob. I hadn't heard from him in years. I hesitated before answering. "Hello?" "Chris," he said, his voice hoarse. "Your aunt, she passed away last night." I gripped my pen tightly. "When's the funeral?" I asked. "Saturday." A pause. "I hope you'll come." Would I come? She was the only one in that family who had ever treated me with kindness. The only one who sent me birthday cards, who checked in even when I moved out and built a life for myself. "Yeah. I'll be there." I hung up, staring blankly at my laptop screen. Memories surfaced. Of how my cousin, Mia, had always been their golden child. How Uncle Rob had constantly made excuses for her. How I was always expected to be responsible while Mia coasted through life. Like the time I got a part-time job at 16 to help cover my own expenses, while Mia, the same age, was given a brand new car, just because. Or how, when I moved into my first apartment and bought my own furniture, my family barely reacted. But when Mia needed a place to stay after yet another financial disaster, they expected me to foot the bill. I should have cut them off sooner. But Aunt Linda had kept me from doing that. And now, she was gone. It's just us now. The funeral was packed with relatives I hadn't seen in years. I stayed near the back, watching as people went up to my uncle and Mia, offering condolences. "Oh, Rob," sighed Aunt Karen, gripping his hand. "If you need anything, you just let us know." My uncle nodded solemnly. "It's going to be so hard without Linda. She was the glue holding us together. Our only support. I don't know how we'll manage." I clenched my teeth. Mia let out a dramatic sob, burying her face in a tissue. Several relatives rushed to comfort her. I couldn't help but notice her perfect manicure. Her designer handbag. The diamond bracelet on her wrist. I knew exactly where the money for those came from. I stepped outside to clear my head. The last time I spoke to Aunt Linda, she had sounded exhausted. "I'm worried about your uncle," she had admitted. "He's been letting Mia get away with too much. And I don't know how much longer I can handle all of this." And now, she was gone. Back inside, I waited through 2 more hours of Mia and Uncle Rob accepting sympathy, nodding along as people reassured them they'd get through this. Finally, as I was about to slip out the door, Uncle Rob called after me. "Chris, wait. We should talk." I followed them into the church lounge. "Listen," Uncle Rob started. "I know things haven't always been great between us." Mia sat beside him, her arms crossed. "But your aunt's death has made me realize how important family is," he continued. "We need to put the past behind us. We should support each other, like Linda would have wanted." I inhaled sharply. I wanted to tell him the truth, that Aunt Linda had been supporting him and Mia, holding everything together while they took and took. But I swallowed the words. Instead, I asked, "Is this about money?" His expression shifted for half a second before he forced a wounded look. "How could you say that? Your aunt left us a little savings, but it's not much. We'll get by. I just want us to be a family again." I nodded slowly. "If we're going to rebuild trust, it'll have to happen gradually." "Of course," he agreed quickly. "Whatever you think is best." I didn't believe him. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt. A week later, Uncle Rob called. "I made your favorite, pot roast," he said cheerfully. "Come by for dinner. Just like old times." Old times? In the old times, he only made pot roast when Mia asked for it. Still, I agreed. The house looked the same. But it felt different. Mia was on the couch, scrolling through her phone, not even looking up when I walked in. "Life is so expensive these days," Uncle Rob sighed, setting the table. "It's crazy. I watched as he pulled out plates, brand new ones, I noticed. Have you started looking for a job yet? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Oh, Chris, it's not that easy at my age, he said, avoiding my eyes. And Mia still has to focus on her career plans. Mia, who had dropped out of college 3 years ago and was not working, made a face. Everyone says the economy is just brutal right now, she added. Like, how are people supposed to live? I took a sip of water before saying carefully, you know, when you actually have a job, those things aren't quite as difficult. The silence in the room was thick. Uncle Rob forced a smile. We'll figure something out. But for now, Mia added, we just have to tighten our belts a little. I smirked. That's a great idea. Very character building. Mia scowled. For the rest of dinner, they barely spoke to me. This became a pattern. I'd visit. Uncle Rob would complain about bills. Mia would sigh about the struggles of life. And they'd pretend not to hear me when I suggested work. Then, the next request came. We need to talk, Uncle Rob said. The washing machine broke. Water everywhere. We really need a new one. I was hoping you could. I already knew where this was going. I folded my arms. I won't give you money. Both their faces fell. But I will buy you a washing machine myself. Uncle Rob sighed like I was being unreasonable. If that's how you want to do it. I could tell it wasn't the answer they wanted. And I knew it wouldn't be the last time. The washing machine I bought them was a mid-range model, reliable, energy efficient, nothing fancy. I scheduled the delivery myself, took time off work to be there when it was installed, and made sure it was in perfect working order. Uncle Rob circled it like he was evaluating a used car. It's nice, he said with a forced smile. Though, I did see a really high-tech model at the store. Had all these special cycles, smart features, Wi-Fi connectivity. When you're ready to buy your own, I interrupted, grabbing my keys, you can get whatever you want. Mia snickered behind him. Oh, come on, Chris, Uncle Rob chuckled. I was joking. This is great, really. I didn't believe him. Over the next few months, it seemed like everything in their house was suddenly breaking. First, the refrigerator stopped working. I hired a repair guy, who took one look and declared it beyond saving. I spent my Sunday picking out a replacement, while Uncle Rob conveniently found reasons not to come along. Then the dishwasher died. Mia called me in a panic, acting as if she'd never heard of washing dishes by hand. Chris, we can't live like this. So, I added a dishwasher to my growing list of purchases. Then came the coffee maker. You know, Uncle Rob said over dinner, his voice thick with nostalgia, Linda always said a house needs good coffee. I couldn't argue with Aunt Linda's memory. I bought them a sleek, high-end espresso machine. Each time I made a purchase, I made sure to either pay the store directly or hire the repair service myself. Uncle Rob would hint about how it would be easier if I just handed over the money, but I wasn't falling for that. I had seen too many of his home improvement funds mysteriously vanish into Mia's shopping habits. The biggest request came when Uncle Rob casually mentioned how painful it was to sit on their old couch. How every time he saw their outdated furniture, he thought of Aunt Linda. So, I replaced it all. New sofa. New cabinets. New memories. My credit card took the hit, but at least I knew exactly where my money was going. Each time, I told myself I was helping them adjust to life without Aunt Linda. Making their home more comfortable. But sometimes, late at night, I wondered if I was just enabling their laziness. Then, one evening, over a dinner I paid for, Mia suddenly perked up. I got an interview, she announced, practically bouncing in her chair. It's for an executive assistant position at Carter & Welch. I nearly dropped my fork. After months of her vague promises about job hunting, this was the first real effort. That's great, I said cautiously. When is it? Next week, she replied, pushing her mashed potatoes around her plate. But there's kind of a problem. I already knew what was coming. I need something professional to wear, she said. You know how important first impressions are. HR people totally judge you on that stuff. We could go shopping together, I offered. I know some great places for office wear. Mia pulled a disgusted face, like I had suggested we shop at a thrift store. I already found the perfect suit, she huffed. I just need the money to buy it. It's only, like, $500. Uncle Rob chimed in, right on cue. Chris, remember when we bought you your first interview suit? They hadn't. Between Uncle Rob's sentimental nonsense and Mia's dramatic sighs, they wore me down. I broke my own rule. Fine, I sighed, pulling out my phone. I'm transferring $500. But I want to see this suit when you get it. Mia squealed and hugged me. You're the best cousin ever. A week later, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw it. Mia, definitely not in an office suit, posing in what looked like a VIP lounge. She wore a sparkly red dress that probably cost exactly $500. My stomach dropped. I clicked through more photos. Mia dancing. Mia doing shots. Mia, grinning at the camera with a caption that read, "Expensive taste. But I deserve it." My blood boiled. The next morning, I drove straight to Uncle Rob's house. Mia was still in her pajamas at noon, nursing what looked like a hangover. How did the interview go? I asked sweetly. Oh, good, she mumbled, avoiding my gaze. Really good. That's wonderful. I said. Can I see the suit you wore? The one you bought with my money? Mia paled. It's, at the dry cleaners. I pulled out my phone and turned the screen toward her. That's funny, I said. Because according to your Instagram, my $500 bought you this dress instead. Mia's eyes filled with fake tears. You're spying on me? It's not spying when you post it publicly. My voice was ice. You lied to me, Mia. You never even had an interview, did you? You're so mean, she wailed. I needed that dress. All my friends were going to this party, and... You what? I snapped. Uncle Rob rushed in from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel. Chris, don't be so hard on her, he said. She's young. She needs to have some fun too. That was it. The last straw. I stood up, my hands trembling with rage. I'm done. My voice was calm. I'm done buying your appliances. I'm done fixing your house. And I'm definitely done giving you money for fake job interviews. You can't just abandon us, Uncle Rob protested. You're on your own, I said firmly. And I walked out. I ignored every call, every text, every voicemail over the next 3 weeks. Then, December arrived. And I made my final move. For 3 weeks, I ignored every call, text, and voicemail from Uncle Rob and Mia. Each time their names popped up on my phone, I felt a mix of anger and relief, anger at their constant manipulation, relief that I didn't have to deal with their drama anymore. Then December rolled in, bringing snow, holiday lights, and a memory I couldn't ignore. Christmas had always been Aunt Linda's favorite time of year. She used to spend weeks decorating the house, baking cookies, and making sure the family gathered, whether they liked it or not. But this year, there would be no Aunt Linda. I had just finished my last work meeting before the holidays when my doorbell rang. Opening the door, I found Uncle Rob standing there, wrapped in Aunt Linda's old winter coat. Chris, he said, voice soft. Can we talk? I hesitated. Please, he continued. It's Christmas. Your aunt always said the holidays were for family. I glanced past him. Mia stood a few steps behind, looking surprisingly subdued. Just 5 minutes, she added quietly. I sighed and stepped aside, already wondering if I was making a mistake. They settled onto my couch while I went to make tea, Aunt Linda's tradition. As the steam curled from my mug, I studied them both. We miss you, Uncle Rob said. The house feels so empty without you visiting. Mia clutched her teacup. I'm sorry about the dress thing, she mumbled. I shouldn't have lied. I didn't respond. Maybe it was the holidays, or maybe I was just exhausted from being angry, but the resentment that had fueled me for weeks felt far away. Maybe Uncle Rob was right. Maybe Aunt Linda would have wanted us to try again. I just want us to be a family again, Uncle Rob said, reaching for my hand. Linda would have hated seeing us like this. We spent the next hour talking. For the first time in years, we actually talked. Uncle Rob shared stories about Aunt Linda I had never heard before. Mia showed me pictures of her supposed job search. It felt nice. Almost normal. Like maybe, just maybe, we could build something from the wreckage of our relationship. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a notification. A charge for $300 at Nordstrom. I frowned. Then another notification. $450 at Saks. My stomach turned. I opened my banking app. More charges. More purchases. All within the last hour. Then I remembered, Mia had asked to use my bathroom before they left last night. She must have gone through my purse. My hands shaking, I called the bank. Yes, I need to report fraudulent charges and block my card immediately. As soon as it was done, I grabbed my keys. This couldn't wait. I stormed through Uncle Rob's front door without knocking. Mia was sprawled out on the couch I had bought them, surrounded by shopping bags from high-end stores. She barely looked up. "Give me my credit card," I demanded. Uncle Rob rushed in from the kitchen. "Chris, what's all this yelling about?" "She stole from me." I snapped. She went through my purse and took my credit card. Mia rolled her eyes and pulled it from her designer handbag, a handbag I had definitely not paid for. "Fine," she huffed. "Here's your precious card back. I just needed some things for the Christmas party. And you've been so stingy lately." I stared at her. Stingy? I had bought them everything. And this was how they repaid me? I turned to Uncle Rob. "You knew about this?" He hesitated. "Mia just needed a little help," he said. "You have so much, Chris. Is it really such a big deal?" I exhaled slowly. I finally saw them for what they were. They weren't just selfish. They were leeches. And it was time to cut them off for good. I forced a smile. "You know what, Uncle Rob? Maybe you're right. Maybe I have been too rigid about money. It is Christmas, after all." His face lit up. "I knew you'd understand. In fact," I continued, "why don't we have Christmas here this year? With all the relatives?" Mia clapped her hands. "That would be so fun." "Oh, Chris, that's a wonderful idea." Uncle Rob gushed. "I'll start making calls right away." Over the next few days, I played my part perfectly. I agreed to every suggestion. I sent money for decorations. I volunteered to bring gifts. I even arrived early on Christmas Eve, smiling like I hadn't just orchestrated their downfall. "We need a few last-minute things," Uncle Rob said. "Would you mind?" "Of course." I pulled out my wallet and handed them several $100s. "Get whatever you need." They practically ran out the door. As soon as their car disappeared down the street, I pulled out my phone. "Yes, this is Chris Thompson. The movers can come now." I had arranged everything. Movers willing to work on Christmas Eve, for double pay. A storage unit across town. Even a small moving truck. Within minutes, they arrived, eager for their holiday bonus. One by one, every single item I had paid for was carried out. The washing machine that started it all. The refrigerator. The dishwasher. The coffee maker. The sofa where Mia had sat, counting my stolen money. The cabinets. The dining table. Everything. Finally, I placed a small, carefully wrapped box under the Christmas tree. I took one last look around the half-empty house. Then I left. And waited. My phone rang at 4:30 p.m. I was sitting on my couch, sipping wine, watching the snow fall outside. Uncle Rob's panicked voice exploded through the speaker. "We've been robbed." I bit back a smile. "That's terrible," I said calmly. "Chris, someone broke in and took everything. The washing machine. The fridge. The furniture. It's all gone." I took another sip of wine. "No one robbed you, Uncle Rob. I took it all." Silence. Then, rage. "You can't do that. I'm calling the police." I actually laughed. "Go ahead. By the way, there's something for you under the tree. You should open it." I heard the rustle of wrapping paper. Then, confusion. "It's a bunch of receipts. What kind of stupid gift is this?" "Those aren't just any receipts," I said. "They're proof that I bought everything in that house. Every appliance. Every piece of furniture. All paid for by me. So when the police arrive, let them know that everything they're about to recover legally belongs to me. You vindictive little. I hung up. And blocked his number. The next morning, my phone rang again. This time, it was my cousin Rachel. "Chris," she gasped between laughter. "You will not believe what happened last night. Tell me everything." And she did. How Uncle Rob's Christmas pity party backfired. How the entire family turned on them. How every little lie and excuse unraveled. Over the next few weeks, I got more messages. First, angry. Then pleading. Then desperate. I blocked them all. Sometimes, I wonder what happened to them. If they finally found jobs. If they sold the house. If they learned anything from this. But those thoughts don't keep me up at night anymore. I sleep just fine. Thank you for watching the video. Like it if you watched the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.